Today in Riptopolis, our brave hero and patron saint, Captain Writ, has been presented with a conundrum that flummoxed him greatly. His usual morning round was much bitter compared to the usual after overhearing this.
I don't get it. Why are you so treasured, Captain? You don't produce hardly anything of your own. You just protect other people's works. How could you even continue living in Ritopolis?
The captain was still deep in thought when news came to his attention that his longtime nemesis, the grammar Nazi, was at it again.
The top story on tonight's news. With this latest in a long series of strikes, the grammar Nazi is taking hold once again of people's stories and cuffing them to standard conventions of punctuation and capitalization. It's causing chaos here in Ritopolis. Where is the incredible Captain Writ? Has he been eliminated by the workings of the grammar Nazi? For more, keep listening to News at 10. Of course I haven't been offed by that Teutonic terror. I'll set this right, just you wait, Ritopolis!
This pompous priss of a hero thinks he can make all my fixes incorrect. I'll show him. Just observe the power of my Oxford scythe!
As the grammar Nazi continued slicing through manuscripts left and right to add Oxford commas, the denizens of Ritopolis were running scared. Our earlier shy-to-a-fault fellow just happened along the scene, and despite his usual reserved demeanor in the public eye, was passionately unafraid of the grammar Nazi.
I'm not worried about you at all. Just try editing my grammatically correct manuscript.
Don't challenge me, you youngling. It will only go badly, comma, with lots of extra pain, comma, hate, comma, sadness, comma, and don't forget proper punctuation.
With mere seconds before the Oxford scythe would rip into his story, the fellow who had yet to be named swallowed hard to screw up enough courage to showcase his latest product.
Here, take a look for yourself.
Actually, I have to say this is quite easy on my critical eyes. You include proper Oxford commas, comma, don't overcapitalize common nouns, comma, and your paragraph indents are all pristine, period. I can't let you outwit me. There must be some mistake in here.
The only mistake is you, Sir Grammar Police.
Please, every time I have to tell you my real name, I'm offended.
Your days of threatening these experimental works with proper grammar are over, Mr. Nazi.
If it's all the same to you, that's Grammar Nazi, not Mr. or Sir Grammar Police or Battlestar Grammatica or any of the other half-hearted joke names you try to use.
No matter. I won't need to remember your proper name ever again. Activating Editor Eyes.
But to his astonishment, the eyes had no effect.
That's what you get, Captain Twit. I hadn't made any edits to this document yet.
If it's all the same to you, that's Captain Writ, not Major Twit, Captain Spit, Corporal Two-Bit, or any other of the lame insult names you try to foist upon me.
No matter. You'll be a footnote in front of the comma once I'm done using my Oxford scythe!
The grammar Nazi was astounded to see a mere commoner block the scythe before it could hit the captain.
I don't even know how I ended up here. Why exactly did I stop this weapon from attacking the silly captain?
You think I'm silly, perhaps, but I cannot deny you just saved my life. In exchange, become my sidekick.
Are you kidding me? No way do I want to do that. Absolutely not, with 5 servings of climax included.
5 servings of climax? Wow, comma, you're serious about this, comma, aren't you, ?
You couldn't get me for 10.
But I must have you as my sidekick. You were so helpful in stopping his attack, instrumental in saving my life. No, I won't take no for an answer. How about this? I'll offer you 11 servings of climax in return for your services.
Don't be fooled. Captain Two-Bit couldn't create a single serving of climax correctly. Instead, comma, you should just let me end his miserable existence.
Well, if I let you do that, Grammar Nazi, then I won't be getting any servings of climax. I suppose that extra one is tempting enough, even if I despise the captain.
What was that? I thought I heard my name on the wind. No matter. I'll end your villainy today, grammar Nazi!
At this point, I should remind listeners he makes this promise every time the grammar Nazi reveals himself. Every time.
You couldn't possibly manage. I'll always concoct more weapons to keep defending these poor manuscripts from the ravage of bad grammar.
Say what you will, but this one ends now. Activating plot chains!
The plot chains are an ability of Captain Writ that emits binding chains from his wristbands and tie themselves around the main thread of a plot, so the story doesn't completely derail as the writer indulges silly tangents away from the core. In this case, he uses them to bind the Oxford Scythe within the grammar Nazi's hands.
I'll be taking that from you, Captain.
Quick, my yet unnamed sidekick, destroy the scythe! Break it in two over your knee, or put it in a furnace to burn, or throw it out with your recyclables.
Wait, what good would that do? I'd go to the ends of the earth, space, and the Oxford Dictionary to retrieve my weapon if you didn't destroy it completely. Best of all, I have all of the plans, materials, research, and plenty of grammatical inspiration just waiting to recreate this weapon.
Not if you're put away for good, and Sidekick here is going to make sure it is so! Quick, Sidekick, call the Chief of Police!
Wait, you're just going to capitalize a common noun and pass it off as my hero name? How lame can you get, Captain Writ?
Please hold while we find another actor to portray this character, for heresy against our beloved idol, the Captain, will not be tolerated in this audio adventure.
Well, Captain Writ, if that isn't the greatest name ever, but I'll accept it and work alongside you because you're necessary to this community. Let's beat the grammar Nazi together, Captain!
My thoughts exactly, dear Sidekick. To the war of the words!
Will the newly named Sidekick help the Captain defeat the grammar Nazi for good? Can they end his serial villainy and obsessive commitment to too starchy grammar? Find out more on Captain Writ and the Unwitting Sidekick, now available on old-timey radios near you. This excerpt is sponsored by the Writ. We now return you to that show.
Welcome, fellow nerds, to another episode of the Writ, the show where we talk about writing a lot, think about writing a lot, plan to writ a lot, come up with amazing story ideas basically all the time, and rarely actually write much.
Yep, that's what we do. We're writers, not writers. Actually, no, we're both.
Well, and I can't even think of how many times I've said, "Gosh, I really haven't made much progress on anything."
You know, I am
outside of NaNoWriMo, like making up for all of it over again.
You know, I'm relaxed on what writting actually means. Like when we talk about what
that is true.
At one point, okay, so
true.
I changed my beard recently. I changed my beard style. I was seriously considering putting that on what I have writ at one point.
Oh my gosh. But you know, writing should include things like making a YouTube channel, which you still haven't done.
Nope. At least I'm not as angry about it as you were last time.
I am still considering rage quitting.
I mean, I would prefer it at this point. It's late, and it's not. It's. Maybe I could get some sleep.
You will be able to get your sleep. Just hold on to your.
We can do this. We're almost there.
We're almost there, and the last one has got to be like perhaps the most boring of the.
No, I was gonna say this will be the most exciting. What we're doing, nonfiction and technical writing. Damn it!
Anyways, that's our topic for this one. It's the last one of this set about less mainstream styles. For more on that, obviously, you can go back and listen to the other episodes. But we got a little summary about nonfiction and technical writing stuff because obviously this is not as much. There's not as much creative license in, you know, just telling facts and histories. And
whatnot, there isn't how you tell
this
them.
This is very well in how you present them is where the creativity comes in, not the actual information.
Yes.
So you know we'll talk a little bit more about that, and hopefully we'll have some fun with this. You know, otherwise, well, I'm going to leave that. Let's go ahead and do the summary because I'm going to say what I was about to say right there.
Let's do it.
Done right, these are full of valuable information that piques your curiosity. Done wrong, they're drier than rotting wood and a slog to read. What's the difference? It's the tone you take when writing. Yes. You have a responsibility to present the truth, not a manipulation of the facts. This is not historical fiction. I do love that genre, by the way.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But this is not historical fiction. It is simply history. Leaving personal bias out is also essential, because this is mostly for informational purposes. Right. That does not mean you can't or shouldn't have fun researching this and crafting the work. Absolutely. Revel in the research. Enjoy the encounters you have, and discover your direction as you go along with it.
Absolutely. I think, yeah, you should definitely have fun with this. It's not like it's like, oh, this has got to be serious. This has got to be factual. No fun. Nope.
I mean,
you can have fun.
You should take it seriously.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it's important to be correct and factual and
but
all that
don't
stuff.
Make it a chore.
That doesn't mean it shouldn't, but it should be fun. It's something you do because you want. Well, sorry, I'm going to take all your points if I don't let you talk.
Yeah, and you better let me talk, because otherwise I might just fall asleep. All right, people read these kind of things to learn stuff, so obviously, you must know a lot about what you're writing about in order to probably write these works. Pick a subject that interests you.
You mean I can't just read the Wikipedia page and go from there?
Yeah, that sounds great. Unless you're writing a book about Wikipedia.
Well, but that doesn't help, because Wikipedia, does it have a page about itself?
I was just thinking about that. Does Wikipedia have a Wikipedia page? Surely it does.
No.
Hold on, let me go check.
No. Oh, God. The Encyclopedia Britannica probably has a page, but the Wikipedia itself have a page? I don't know.
All right, Wikipedia. Wikipedia is a multilingual, web-based free encyclopedia based on... Okay.
Talk about completionists. It's got its own damn page. That's hilarious.
There you go. All right.
But anyway,
so,
has its own page.
Pick a subject
but don't
that
just look at a summary and go.
Pick the subject that interests you, something you're really passionate about, and try to convey that passion into your book so others can understand what's so fascinating about your subject. Like if I were to write a nonfiction book, it would be about dinosaurs, obviously, or space, or my personal life, as these are the things that interest me that I know a lot about. But since no one wants to know more about my personal life, I guess it'll be about dinosaurs. It'll be about dinosaurs or space. I mean, not both, as that wouldn't be nonfiction, unless I wrote a whole book detailing the journey of a baby Maiasaura bones and egg fragments that were brought up to the International Space Station. True story. There have been dinosaurs that have been in space before.
I'm trying to figure out what the purpose of doing
I
this
have no
is.
idea.
Okay, go for it.
I think just to say there was a dinosaur in space at one point.
Well, yeah, I suppose, but like it's not. I mean, I'm not suggesting we go all Jurassic Park and open the world where we can recreate dinosaurs and make them literally go to space. But
that's gonna be the next reboot, Jurassic Galaxy.
That seems defeating the purpose to say, "Oh, a dinosaur's in space." It's just a fossil, numbheads.
Maybe they wanted to see how the fossil chemicals or what, like the stuff within it would react to the vacuum.
Well, it's possible, because
but
obviously, like I don't know about vacuum, but like you always hear about how astronauts that are out in space for a really long time have trouble when they come back to Earth because they have to deal with gravity again, and
yes.
the bone density is like gone down or something.
Yeah, and also their spine stretches.
I'd be tall.
You get like an inch taller in space because the gravity's not weighing your spine down.
Well, I wish it would take my weight down, but that's gravity for you. It sucks.
You would probably gain weight, honestly, because you're just not moving around. You're letting...
You're floating from place to place.
Yep.
Just bulk up like a freaking balloon sack or something. I don't know. Anyways, we're trying to have fun with this. Can't you tell, listeners?
Yeah. So, let's get to our tipperoonies. With that said, our tech writing tipperoonies.
And technical writing. Oh, wow. Yeesh. Okay, well, tip number 1.
Yes, you ready?
Be concise if it's instructional. Yes. Particularly technical writing in this case. Be concise. Bogging down the pace too much makes it even harder to enjoy as a reader. And I don't know about you, but I can't think of how many history texts I would look at, and because the writer didn't have a fun time with it or got way too over-wordy on certain things, like obviously some things require more text, but God, those get hard to read.
Right. No, I get that. And in fact, I'm going to say my points out of order to kind of more flow with what you're talking about there. I'm going to say, just make it interesting is my first tip. Don't feel like you don't have to worry about the writing being dull since like people who are reading this are already interested in the material. There are plenty of dinosaur books I can't read because they're the most boring and drab pieces of writing. You have much like blog writing, have a style and a voice. Use methods that prose writers do to keep the readers gripped even in your nonfiction. There's a lot more overlap in the writing styles than you might think.
Yeah, I mean it's all about presentation, right? For this kind of stuff. So there's obviously that. We did mention blog writing. We talked about that 2 weeks ago. Please go back and listen.
Ding.
I wasn't gonna do it, but sure, it's episode 35.
Yeah, at this point, they're spaced out enough. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm not drunk, I swear.
You're surviving. I swear to drunk, I'm not God. Anyway. All right, back to me, I guess. Another tipperoonie here. For more opinionated things, like reaction to historical events, if you're chronicling these things, you should hear from as many different opinions as possible. Right. I mean, obviously, they won't all agree with you, but it's important to do that research.
Exactly.
Luckily, if you're just stating fact, you don't need to worry about that too much. But you should double, triple, even more, quadruple maybe, check to make sure all your facts and figures are correct before publishing. Yes, editors exist. You should also be your own editor. I mentioned with essays and stuff, you should not ignore proofreading, and that definitely applies here as well.
Mm-hmm. And as sort of on that note, and I'm glad that these points have all aligned in this way, do your research is my second point, and cite your sources. Even if you know a lot about whatever you're writing about, still research everything you can. You learn new stuff no matter what it is. Never go in...
No matter how expert you thought you were.
Right, exactly. I still learn new stuff about dinosaurs all the time. I need to have a new thing.
I don't call you an expert. I just call you a fanatic.
I need to have a new thing another thing to talk about other than dinosaurs. I'm such a dork.
Hey, fun story. One of my former roommates and we used to make this joke that our room should just be labeled with a giant "Nerds Are Us" thing.
I mean, I've called my place the Matt Cave. That's my room. So,
well, and to be fair, everybody has their own flavor of nerddom. Yes, I'm trying to make that a word. Don't ask.
It is already a word, I swear.
And so,
like it's become one in this.
Not nerddom.
It's become one in this.
But anyway. Yeah. These things, there are different flavors for everybody to enjoy because some of these things are super niche, some of them are less niche. It just depends on what you're interested in.
Right, but I'm just...
Don't force yourself, but, try and broaden your horizon.
Right, I'm just...
Particularly within your field, there's more information to be had if you just seek it.
Right, but, I'm just afraid that when I grow up and I'm finally able to afford my own house, people will come to my... I might have mentioned this in the podcast before. I'm saying it again. People might come to my house and there'll be a doormat that says, "Wipe your feet," and it's like dinosaur footprints. And they're like, "Oh, that's cute." And they open the door like, "Oh no, this is too much.
This guy is insane."
There's a urinal.
Well, I would make
the urinal is just a gaping T-Rex mouth.
Oh my god, that would be slightly terrifying.
There's dinosaur statues everywhere. Some people have a moose.
It also doesn't really serve the female populace. I'm not saying that there would be a ton of female guests, but like a urinal they don't use.
There'd be another bathroom for the places sitting down. Plus, I have to have a sitting down one too every once in a while. So, but also some people have like moose heads like sticking out of their fireplace.
Oh,
mine would be like a triceratops.
Taxidermists and stuff. Yeah.
It would be everywhere. Like the shower curtain would be dinosaur stuff. The shower head would be a dinosaur skull. The towels would have dinosaurs on them. And this is just the bathroom.
Yeah, no, I tell you what, there are lots of things out there. So do some research, find what you're interested in. This goes for Donald as much as the listener
of
too.
Course.
But, there are other things that you can include in your favorites if you just desire it.
Right.
So like I know you liked Bionicle. I like Bionicle, but it's definitely different than what we grew up with. So I don't really follow it much anymore. But you could be Bionicle mad if you
Some people still are,
well.
and some people still like the Generation 1 Bionicle stuff. Like there's still YouTube channels about it and such.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like there's an audience for everything because there's literally enough different people to like all these different things.
Right. And even if you have a thing that's so specific that only you like it, it's still an audience for it. It's you.
Exactly.
But yeah, like you're saying, like do the research and stuff. Never go in overconfident that you know everything about the subject because you don't. Do your research.
No, heck no. I remember my music professors in college would always make the joke that the more you know you don't know.
That's a good one. I like that.
Well, I mean, it's true, because, like, there's so much you could study about music. It's a very broad category. You could get really in-depth about this one Russian composer, or you could go very in-depth about African Aboriginal instruments, or you could do anything about world culture, because all of these countries had their own kind of music, and suddenly you look at it, and it's freaking enormous. Right. Now, of course, in the musical world, if you say somebody you're a musician, they kind of assume that you're a jack of all those trades.
Right.
I really despise that opinion, but, you know, it's definitely a common thought. Stereotype,
well,
if you will.
you're a musician and you have a violin, that must mean you must know how to play the oboe, right?
Exactly! You can play the trumpet, and you can play the piano,
you can play the
you
glockenspiel.
Can dance and chew gum at the same time.
I just wanted to say glockenspiel.
Nothing wrong with that. That is a great name. Anyway, but that's the thing. Even if, I mean, you could be an expert of one thing within a broader field, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, if you decided to study sauropods out of all the dinosaurs and become the sauropod expert, you're still probably not as much of an expert as you think you are if you're writing something like this. So do your research.
Yes, absolutely.
Do your homework.
Do it.
Sorry, do you want to skip to your other point since we're talking about that anyway?
Nah, I think that's fine. You can go.
Well, it's more aligned with what you're saying right now than what I'm going to say, is why I asked.
What, cite your sources?
No, just reading the other stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I don't know. Okay, fine. I guess my final point here is read other nonfiction books and other technical writing to get a feel of how it's done. Recently, I read the book only yesterday, as I mentioned in episode 30, Defining the Alignment System. Ding! I actually wrote this one, the script, so...
We're going on the script. For more on that, no, I'm kidding.
Oh my god, shut up!
I didn't do it!
Okay, so... Alright, and that was a very good nonfiction account of the 1920s. It read almost like a story, with like dramatic language and recounting of the numerous political and societal events of the decade, and it made it quite interesting for me to read. It made me want to learn more, which is what good nonfiction and technical writing does. So...
Yeah. The last tip I have, it's gonna bring this kind of full circle based on the set of episodes we've done too. The single most important part of writing stories is the idea germ.
Right.
The single most important part of writing scripts is the dialogue.
Okay.
The single most important part of writing essays is the thesis.
I like how you're bringing all this together.
Whether it's a blog post or essay, you know? The single most important part of writing lyrics is the message.
Interesting.
What you're trying to tell somebody.
Right. I like
as opposed to just having
making this all come full circle. You're like,
you're welcome.
Thank you. I should have done that.
The single most important part of writing these works, technical, nonfiction, otherwise, is research. Right. Get out and do some beforehand.
Is that it? This is going to be the shortest episode ever. It's going to be 20 minutes.
I don't know about that being it. That's my last tip.
I mean, that's all we've got in our notes.
That's all we got in our notes, but we didn't have a space for final thoughts in this one. So do you have anything to add?
I don't think so. I think it's just, basically do your research, pick a subject that interests you, and show to other people why it interests you so it can interest them, and like make sure that people learn new stuff, and you will learn new stuff. I think we've covered it all. So since we got all
one thing I do want to say though, with fiction, I've read afterwards from Dean Koontz in his books about how fiction writers sometimes have stories that they don't particularly care much about doing, but they do it for a different reason than that. I don't think you could get away with doing that in nonfiction, because if you're not that invested in what you're trying to share, it will show. The reader will figure it out. You can't fool anybody. I mean, heck, let's be honest, the reader's probably not that interested in that subject to begin with. But if the writer is less interested than the reader seems, than the reader would be, it's not good at all. So you obviously, this has to come from a source of affection for these areas, for this topic, whatever that looks like. So maybe you do need to do a lot more research than you have. Maybe you started a Wikipedia article and say, "Oh my gosh, this looks really interesting. I want to read more."
Yeah, you can look at the references on Wikipedia.
Become a fanatic about something.
Look at the references on Wikipedia and see where they got their info from. So that could work.
Exactly. I mean, it's something that starts from you.
Right.
That you have to convey, that spark that you have to put in your writing. Again, we said it's all about presentation, right?
Right.
You have to put that in your writing for the audience to appreciate, or else it will not succeed.
Yes.
Again, and go back to the history textbook. In my college experience, we had a music theory textbook, and the information presented within was not necessarily incorrect, but the guy's writing style was so, like, dry, it kind of felt like it was perfunctory. He was doing it because he was asked to do it, not because he actually cared about it.
Good word
now,
usage.
I don't want to disparage this author, because obviously he did something that's really helpful for somebody studying the subject. Right. But, like, try not to be somebody doing this to earn a paycheck.
Yeah.
You may not have a choice in some aspects, but, like, if you aren't interested, then the simple solution is do something that will rekindle your interest.
Right, that makes sense. That's true of any writing, too, but this especially, I think.
Especially this, because it could be so dry, because, like, there's no fantastical world to build. I mean, yes, this world has its fantastic points, don't get me wrong. But because it's reality, it's based on fact, based on what exists, there's no room for creativity within your presentation of those facts.
Yes.
So how you package them together for the readers,
that's the creative part,
is important.
Yeah.
That's the creative part.
And you can have fun.
Don't forget that.
Yeah,
either.
have fun with it. So, wow.
Sorry, that was me mostly adding filler.
That's okay.
Like,
I think it's funny that, like, we need to use our exposition generator. Like, that we just advertised. Like,
no, we don't. Concise is best.
You know what's?
These kind
it's
of work,
funny. Like, I'm feeling a little better. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm not so tired. I'm not so hungry. I'm like, yeah, I'm on a second wind. Let's do this. And then it's over so quickly. We got
the runner's high.
We've got time to spare. I think. You know what this means, David? It's time for a classic, reoccurring segment. Matt picks his nose.
Oh, god dang.
Yeah. We gotta spill the time and unfill our noses.
No.
Pick your nose.
No.
Look, watch me. Watch me put my finger up my nose. Oh, yeah.
No. I was trying so hard to not say anything. And then we skipped over it. I was happy because I'm like, oh god, we've avoided it. Yay.
Nope. It always comes back. Like a particularly annoying booger, it always comes back. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say if we had known this before, we could have like thrown in like the joke segment we were going to do for the Witties that we never did.
What was that? I forgot.
I don't know, but it would have been perfect to pad this out.
Maybe we should do some research and find out. No, okay.
Maybe we should do some.
All right, we're going on our last legs here, listeners.
And speaking of which, forced segues being what they are. But yeah, that's it for this week. That's it for this set, actually.
I consider this a resounding success.
What's resounding? My screams. Anyway, if you have any questions about this kind of writing,
and I'm sure you have
obviously
plenty.
Each subject is a little bit different, so the way that people are expecting to see this information could vary between subjects. Keep that in mind as well.
Right.
But if you have any other questions that we could answer or read aloud on the show and answer for you, we'd love to do that. How you do that? Contact us using the Matthew Donald Creator page, and you can email Matt D, that's with 2 T's, at MatthewDonaldCreator.com. Don't worry if you aren't sure how to spell it, it will be in the description. If you have any questions, we both have way too much in common in our names. Yes. So, specify which host you are asking, and please let us know if it's okay if we share your question on the air or our answer for your question on the air, all that fun stuff, so we can do that too. If we had listener feedback, it would have been perfect to throw in here.
Just
saying.
Hold on, let me.
No, it's okay. It's okay. The moment is gone.
Go into the catacombs of our
the moment is gone.
Massive amounts of fan mail that we always get.
We need to go back. We need to go back to the vault where we found the golden pencil for more on that.
Shut the hell up.
No, but we'd have to go there because that's where all our fan mail is stored. right over the path of purple prose, and so every so often
No
they fall
wonder
into
we
the
don't
lava.
read any of it.
Or chocolate fudge ice cream that we never see them again. So
No wonder we don't read any of it. It's so damn hard to get to. You had to cross the swamp of sorrow, whatever it was, swamp of suffering, the desert of desolation, the mountains of malevolence, just for some silly fan mail.
Yep, and that's why we never read it, unless you want us to. We will go through all that trouble if you'd like us to answer on the air.
And if
so please let
if
us
you want
know.
to follow me personally and ask me what the hell was this episode for, you can follow me at MatthewDonCreator on Facebook, at MatthewDon64 on Twitter, and MatthewDon64 on Instagram. Why 64? Because of my favorite video game console, the Commodore 64. Ever played that one, David?
Oh, okay.
It's like an old computer, but worse.
Sorry, I do have one thing I wanted to shout out.
course.
I did talk about them last week in the What We Have Writ section, and that is my friends at the Henshin Heroes podcast.
Oh, yes.
I'd like to go ahead and do a little plug
Might
for them
as well
since I mentioned
pat
it
out the
last
link.
time. I have to. Well, not even particularly for padding, but because I didn't do it last time,
Right.
and it makes more sense to put it here anyway.
Okay.
So sorry, apologize while I pull
Basically,
that up.
you're in
they've
another
got a
you
bunch
were
of various.
in another podcast for a couple episodes.
Yes, I was a guest host. For more on the story, you can listen to the last episode we did. But they have a bunch of various social media sites. I won't read their email on here, but there's an email available if you'd like to contact them directly if you listen and have questions or whatever, suggestions, that kind of a thing. They are hosted by Anchor, and through Anchor, which is just anchor.fm, they've also now spread to Pocket Casts, Stitcher, Overcast, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So it is available on iTunes. They do live videos on Twitch.
Cool.
At Henshin Heroes, I believe is the handle there. I need to check that. I think it's right. Anyway, they also post the Twitch streams to YouTube eventually, and that's Henshin Heroes on on YouTube as well. They have a Facebook page, Henshin Heroes Pod, same handle, at Henshin Hero Pod on Twitter, and they have an Instagram, although I don't think they've used it quite yet. So please take a listen to that. I obviously like the show a lot because they're friends of mine, and I helped out, and it's a very, very close subject to my heart. Like, if I wanted to write nonfiction, writing the history of Tokusatsu would be a fun place to start. Just a random throw in there. But anyway, please check them out. Give them a like and review. Give us a like and review on iTunes. We haven't mentioned that in a while. It really helps. So thanks for listening. That was our talk about lesser mainstream styles of writing. And we'll come back to you next week.
What will we talk about? We don't know yet. We'll find out.
We haven't figured that out, but we'll get back to you then. Surely by the time we actually record it, we'll know, so we don't have an episode.
Nah, let's go in blind.
Like
It works so well this time.
Filler. Anyway, this was about nonfiction and technical writing. For others, please check back to those other episodes. Thanks for hanging around us for so long.
Yes.
About this perhaps boring, sometimes dry subject, but hopefully it
we
helps.
hopefully did our
And if
best to
nothing
make
else,
it interesting. So
yeah, no, I mean I had fun recording this. What about you?
I mean, like I said, I got a second win, so sure, I do.
Sure, you do? Question mark? Ding.
I'm really good at faking it if I'm not. So. Or I'm really bad at faking it. I don't know. I'm sure listeners
Peeks
can hear
behind
my
the
voice,
curtain.
so.
We should save for peeks behind the curtain. We should save for Patreon or whatever if we ever end up doing that. Get the YouTube channel
it'll be
done.
the same day as the YouTube channel.
All right, but that's it for
right,
us on this set. I'm Matt David.
I'm Matt Donald.
Until next time, keep writing, listeners, and thanks for tuning into the Writ Wit, show where us two twits have twitted ourselves out about writting. Until next time.
Yep, I'm Matt Donald.
And I'm Matt David again.
Oh, if we said it again, I don't know yet. I'm so tired. I'm going to bed. Good night, listeners.
All right, good night or day wherever you are. Have fun. See you next time.
Bye.
Thanks.
The Rid